Hello everybody. Hope you all are doing well. This is your professor from your Java programming class. And in this video, I would like to go over the access modifiers and their access towards or their access or their availability within the package, within the class and outside the package. So let's first of all, let me explain what is it that I try to do in these individual tables that I created. So first off, what I tried to do was show you that here is a package, and within this package I have three classes: first, second, and third. Okay, so these are individual packages that I have, and I was trying to move this table just a little bit right here. Okay, so now I have these three classes and they're all inside one package, let's say package P. And I was trying to kind of give them the same, to show you that they belong to the same package. I have a yellow background so you know that these three classes belong to package P. So in this class, in this package, let's look into the first class, which is my first.java. And in my first.java, so in this class, first.java, which belongs to package P, I had written out the 4 different access modifiers. And what I try to do is define my public. So this is my variable. So I call it num1, num2, num3, and num4. The first one, as you can see, is public, and I assigned a value. The second one, I did not assign anything. This is also sometimes called the default. Okay. So you have your public, and this is your variable. This is your default, and then you have a private variable, and I call it num3, and then a protected variable called num4. Okay, so within this particular class in the package P, all these things are accessible. So if I write anything, any kind of code over here, it's not what I meant, but if I write any kind of code over here, all these things are going to be available to me. Absolutely okay, no problem. Okay, so I'm going to say okay and okay. Now let's move to the second one, and this is where I have my second Java, and it still belongs to the same package. And the way I can access these members in my second class or my second.java is by instantiating an object out of my first class. And you all know that this is how I would instantiate the object. So I would say first, and I call it object A equals new first. Okay, so that would instantiate that object A, and then I'm going to use system out print. So I would call it SOP instead of rewriting it every time. So if I say SOP A dot num1, remember A is my object that I created out of my first class. A dot num1, it is okay because this is public. And then I said A dot num2, this is still okay because this is my default. Okay, and then I have this private A dot num3, and this is the one that I would not be able to see or access in the second class. All right, because it's a private variable. And then if I have a protected, now this is the third kind that we are seeing being used for the first time in this chapter, where when we talk about inheritance, we also talk about the access modifiers, and we have already seen the use of public and private before, but protected is the first time that we are seeing over here. So if I write something protected, if this is the variable that I had written in a class, then in the second class this is not available because this is private and this is not available. However, protected is still available. Okay, so num4 is still available in this second class. Now let's create a third class called third.java, and actually what I really want to do is I say third extends first. Okay, so again this is still going to be a .java class, so I'm going to just move this one saying this is still going to be called third.java, but inside the class, I would say class third extends first. So now this is a subclass of this first class. All right. Now, in this subclass, there are two ways you can access these variables. You can do it by directly accessing it. So I'm going to say SOP num1, num2, num3, and num4. And as you can see, num3, since it's a private variable, it's still not going to be accessible. All right. Now, the other way of using the variables is to again create an object called first A, and I'm going to say first A equals new first. So now I have this subclass called third, which is extending from first, okay, and I created an object of the first, and then I can access them by saying a.num1, num2, num3, and num4, and again you can see the private being not accessible. All right, so this is my first one where everything is within the same package. So you can pretty much see that it is only when you have the private member that is not accessible to an outside class, or even when you extend. Okay, so same package, everything else is available, but not over here. Now let's go and outside the package and create a separate package. Let's say I'm talking about package Q. Okay, in this package, let's create a class called fourth, but again the same thing. From the fourth is going to extend first. Okay, and again both they're still going to be, it's going to be class fourth.java, but it's actually class fourth extending first. So now I have a subclass called fourth, which is outside the package. Okay, so now let's look into the accessibility, and I basically copied the two ways that I can access my variables, and you can see that now my 2 and 3, which is my default, remember this was my default that I had created inside the package, the default is not available, and also my private is not available. The only thing available is public, and I still can do the protected. However, when I extend or when I create a new object in a different package, look at the accessibility at this point. So now none of these things are available. So num2, num3, and num4, which are my default, private, and protected, are not available. The only thing available is my public. Okay, and then if I have a class 5, which is not an extension but in a different package, a class by itself, then I can only use the public because the rest of them are not available. Okay, so here is my SOP a.num1 if I had created an object called A. All right, so this is basically the way you can understand the accessibility between the classes that are in the same package, between classes but they're extended, or there is a subclass created still in the same package, all given by this package P with the yellow background. And then I went outside one level where I went to a separate package but then still extended from a class in a different package. So then you could see the accessibility of those individual members. And then in a separate package, I again created a separate Java class where I created an object and showed you how the accessibility would affect in this case. So this is pretty much how the accessibility would work in the packages and outside the packages, and again within the packages how it would work. I would also post a video, a simple video that I have found from outside which explains how you can write the code. I just wanted to give you this one without getting into the syntax and the code, just to make the concept understood or easily understood from this. Thank you.